Why has your car suddenly started guzzling gas for no apparent reason? You fill up the tank, but the fuel gauge drops fast, like it's a game. On the road, the engine feels sluggish, the throttle is heavy, and it doesn't have the pep it used to. Don't rush to blame the gas station. The problem is often right inside your own car. This video will point out the common reasons your car is burning more fuel and simple fixes anyone can do. Catch these early, and you could save millions in fuel costs every year. Pause for 2 seconds and hit that subscribe button to support us. 1. Incorrect tire pressure, too low or too high. A lot of people don't realize it, but just having the wrong tire pressure can make your car burn an extra liter of gas every 100 kilometers. Underinflated tires increase the surface area touching the road, which boosts rolling resistance. Your engine has to work harder, meaning you press the gas pedal deeper just to maintain normal speed. The result? A sluggish car, a hotter engine, and noticeably higher fuel consumption. On the flip side, overinflating tires might seem like a fuel-saving trick, but it's just as risky. Overinflated tires make the ride bumpy, reduce traction, weaken braking, and cause the center of the tire to wear out faster, costing you money on replacements without saving much fuel. Here's the thing. Many drivers still believe, pump them up a bit for safety, or keep them a little soft for comfort. But both are wrong. Every car has a standard tire pressure set by the manufacturer, usually listed on a sticker by the driver's door or inside the fuel cap. Inflate your tires to that exact number. No more, no less. Especially when the weather turns cold, tire pressure drops naturally. For every 10 degrees Celsius drop, tires lose about 1 psi. Many drivers don't notice until they check and find their tires 3 to 4 psi low, enough to bump fuel consumption by 5 to 10%. The simple fix? Get a small tire pressure gauge. Check your tires once a month, especially before long trips. If your car has a tire pressure monitoring system, TPMS, don't ignore it when the light comes on. It's not just a decorative warning. Properly inflated tires make your car roll easier, steer more precisely, brake better, and most importantly, save fuel noticeably. 2. Faulty or weak oxygen sensor. The oxygen sensor, or O2 sensor, is one of the most critical gatekeepers in your car's fuel system. It's located in the exhaust pipe, measuring the amount of oxygen left in the exhaust gases to help the ECU figure out if the air-fuel mixture is too rich or too lean. When this sensor is weak or fails, the ECU gets blind, injecting the wrong amount of fuel, usually too much to avoid a lean burn. That's why your car suddenly drinks gas like water, even if it seems to run fine. The clearest signs are higher fuel consumption, a strong gas smell, slight engine vibrations at idle, or a constant check engine light. Many people try replacing spark plugs, air filters, or cleaning fuel injectors, but the problem persists because the root issue is the oxygen sensor. This part operates in extreme heat, up to 800 degrees Celsius, so over time, soot and oil buildup can make it sluggish or inaccurate. When the ECU gets bad data, it can't adjust the air-fuel mix properly. The result is incomplete combustion, wasting fuel, reducing power, and producing dark exhaust. On older cars, neglecting this can even damage the catalytic converter, a part that costs millions to replace. If your car's fuel consumption spikes for no clear reason, have a mechanic check the oxygen sensor with a diagnostic tool. A new sensor costs a few $100,000 to just over $1 million, but it saves fuel every day. Don't underestimate this small part. It's the eyes and ears of your engine. A faulty oxygen sensor is like driving blindfolded. It burns gas and risks damaging the entire combustion system. 3. Dirty or clogged air filter. Many people think the air filter is just a tiny sponge, not as important as oil or spark plugs, but it's actually a top reason for high fuel consumption that goes unnoticed. Your engine runs on a mix of fuel and air. If the air supply is choked, the system pumps in more fuel to compensate, and your gas mileage takes a hit. A dirty air filter restricts airflow to the combustion chamber, like trying to breathe through a dusty mask while running. The car feels sluggish and accelerates slowly, and the engine roars without delivering power. Meanwhile, fuel keeps getting injected, but doesn't burn fully, leading to waste and more soot buildup. Beyond wasting fuel, a dirty air filter can harm other parts. Poor air intake throws off the air-fuel ratio, causing spark plugs to blacken, the intake manifold to get gunked up, and the MAF sensor to get dirty. Over time, the entire intake and combustion system suffers. Fuel consumption can jump by 10 to 15%, and you'll notice more engine vibration and darker exhaust smoke. Many drivers take their car for a full service, checking injectors, sensors, and the ECU, while overlooking the simplest culprit, the air filter. Another mistake is keeping an air filter too long because it doesn't look that dirty. But the naked eye can't spot the fine dust clogging the filter's folds. Hold it up to the light. If you can't see through it, airflow is already restricted. For those driving in dusty areas or on dirt roads, the filter can lose effectiveness after just a few thousand miles. Don't skimp by choosing cheap, low-quality filters either. Some don't seal properly, letting dust into the cylinders, tiny particles that act like blades, grinding down cylinder walls and intake valves. Repair costs can run into thousands of dollars, while a quality air filter costs about the same as a tank of gas. Stick to OEM filters and replace them every 10,000, 12,000 miles, or sooner if you drive in smoky or dusty conditions. 4. Wrong engine oil viscosity or dirty oil. Many people think oil is oil. As long as you change it, you're fine. But using oil with just one wrong viscosity grade can significantly increase fuel consumption. Engine oil doesn't just lubricate, it also cools and reduces friction between moving parts. When you use oil that's too thick, the engine has to wade through a heavy layer of oil, making the pistons, crankshaft, and camshaft work harder than normal. The result? Your car feels sluggish. You have to press the gas pedal harder to move, and fuel disappears fast. On the other hand, using oil that's too thin or old reduces lubrication drastically. Metal parts then rub directly against each other, generating high heat, wearing out faster, and weakening the engine. Many cars burn more fuel simply because of the wrong oil type. For example, a car designed for 0W20 but filled with 10W740 struggles runs hotter and uses over 10% more fuel. After switching to the correct oil, the engine sounds smoother, responds quicker to the throttle, and saves fuel noticeably. Another common mistake is letting oil go too long without a change. Dirty oil is full of soot, metal particles, and moisture. It's no longer oil, but an abrasive paste inside your engine. When oil degrades, piston rings can stick, valves get gummy, the engine runs hot, and fuel consumption spikes. Just pull out the dipstick. If the oil is thick, black, smells burnt, or feels gritty, it's well past due. Always use the oil type specified on the engine cap or in the owner's manual, like 0W20 or 5W30. High-quality synthetic oil may cost a bit more, but it maintains stable viscosity longer, keeps the engine running smoothly, saves fuel, and lasts much longer. A small mistake with engine oil can make your car guzzle gas, lose power, and wear out faster than you'd think. If you learned something new today, drop a 5 in the comments. 5. Dirty or faulty mass airflow sensor, MAF. The mass airflow sensor, or MAF sensor, is the eyes of the air intake system. It precisely measures the amount of air entering the engine so the ECU can calculate how much fuel to inject. When the MAF sensor is dirty or weak, the ECU gets blind data, throwing off the air-fuel mixture. Usually the ECU compensates by injecting more fuel to avoid a lean burn, and that's why your car suddenly burns more gas, even if it seems to run fine. The problem is, the MAF sensor operates in a harsh environment, right after the air filter, where airflow carries dust, oil vapor, and even residue from the exhaust gas recirculation (EGR) system. Over time, a thin layer of grime builds up on the sensor's tiny wires or elements. This film causes the sensor to misread the actual airflow. The engine may idle smoothly, but the ECU thinks there's less air and injects extra fuel to compensate. The result is 10 to 20% higher fuel consumption, sooty spark plugs, a grimy intake manifold, and a heavier sounding engine. A clear sign is sluggish acceleration, a laggy throttle response, or a fuel gauge dropping fast despite no change in your driving. Many people take their car for service, replacing the air filter, spark plugs, or cleaning injectors, but see no improvement when all it takes is cleaning the MAF sensor. It's not complicated. Remove the sensor, use a dedicated MAF cleaner spray, spritz it lightly a few times, and let it dry naturally. Never touch or scrub the sensor, as its delicate components are easily damaged. 6. Weak or failing battery. A weak battery is something few people consider when their car starts burning more fuel, but it's a silent culprit in many modern vehicles. Back in the day, carbureted cars only needed enough battery power to start. But now, everything, from fuel injectors to fuel pumps, sensors to the ECU, relies on electronics. When voltage drops, data and control signals go haywire, causing the fuel injection system to work inaccurately. The car may still start, but the ECU injects extra fuel to compensate for errors. The result? Higher fuel consumption, a sluggish engine, slow acceleration, and warning lights that flicker on and off unpredictably. A weak battery doesn't just make starting hard. It distorts the entire electrical system. Many assume a car that starts well has a strong battery, but that's not true. A weak battery can still crank the engine but drop voltage while running. This starves sensors and the fuel pump of power, sending faulty signals to the ECU. The car burns more fuel, responds poorly to the throttle, and automatic transmissions may even shift jerkily due to unstable power. Another clue is when turning on headlights or the AC causes the engine RPM to dip slightly or the dashboard lights to dim briefly. These are signs of insufficient voltage. The charging system, alternator, and battery has to work overtime to compensate, overloading the system and burning extra fuel. Over time, this can even damage the alternator, a costly part to replace. The fix is simple. Check your battery and charging system every 6 months. Most shops have quick testers that can check battery health in minutes. If the voltage is below 12.4 them at rest or below 13.75 while charging, the battery is weak or the alternator isn't charging enough. Don't wait until the car won't start to replace it. By then, you've already wasted more fuel than you'd spend in a month. 7. Faulty transmission or rough shifting. When it comes to high fuel consumption, most people only think of the engine, spark plugs, or air filter, but few suspect the transmission as the silent fuel guzzler. The transmission's job is to transfer power from the engine to the wheels. When it works smoothly, energy flows efficiently. But if the transmission slips, shifts late, or hesitates even slightly, the engine has to work harder to make up for lost power. Every jerky shift spikes the RPMs, injecting extra fuel, and your gas bill climbs without you noticing. In modern automatic transmissions, everything is controlled electronically. Just one sensor acting up or a signal off by a few milliseconds can cause the car to shift into the wrong gear or hold a gear too long. The result? High RPMs, an overworked engine, and no extra speed to show for it. Drivers might only notice the car feels heavier than usual, but in reality, fuel is being burned for nothing. If this goes on, the transmission overheats, The fluid degrades faster, and the clutch packs inside wear out prematurely. Some telltale signs. The car accelerates slowly despite a roaring engine, RPMs stay high but speed doesn't match, shifts are delayed or jerky, or you hear a faint clunk when shifting. On cars with a tachometer, if the RPM needle jumps erratically while holding steady throttle, that's a sign of slipping gears. Beyond wasting fuel, this wears down parts, raises transmission temperatures, and shortens the life of the entire drivetrain. The simplest fix is to change the transmission fluid regularly. Many overlook it, but transmission fluid doesn't just lubricate, it cools and controls hydraulic pressure for shifting. If the fluid is old, dark, or smells burnt, the clutch packs are likely wearing out inside. Just replacing it with the correct ATF or CVT fluid as specified can make shifts smoother, lower RPMs, and noticeably save fuel. 8. Binding brakes or braking while driving. Binding brakes, or the habit of lightly pressing the brake while driving, are two major fuel burners many drivers don't notice. Brakes are designed to stop the car, not to stay engaged while moving. When brake pads stick or the caliper pistons don't fully release, the wheels are constantly dragged. The car feels heavy, like it's towing something, but drivers often assume it's a weak engine and press the gas harder. The engine works overtime to overcome the friction, burning fuel for no reason, while the brakes get hotter and bind even tighter. In fact, just one binding wheel can increase fuel consumption by 15%. You might notice the car pulling slightly to one side, a burnt smell from the wheels, or rims that are hot to the touch after a short drive. Some cars even make a faint squeaking sound from constant pad to disc contact. If left unchecked, the heat can warp brake discs, burn pads, or even damage the ABS sensors. The cost isn't just higher fuel use. Replacing brakes and fixing the system can run into thousands of dollars. Another issue comes from driver habits, keeping a foot on the brake pedal while creeping along or going downhill. It seems safe, but it's the fastest way to wear out pads, scorch discs, and burn extra fuel. Every light tap on the brake forces the engine to work harder against the drag. Some drivers unconsciously keep one foot on the gas and one on the brake, always in a driving while braking state. Checking for binding brakes is easy. After driving a few miles, stop and lightly touch the wheel rims, or use an infrared thermometer. If one rim is noticeably hotter than the others, that brake is likely sticking. When you spot this, clean or replace the caliper, cylinder, or return springs immediately. For newer cars with electronic brakes, also check the motor and wiring for mechanical or software issues. 9. Using the wrong fuel type, wrong octane. Many believe premium gas makes the car stronger and more efficient, but the truth is the opposite. Every car is designed for a specific octane rating, usually listed on the fuel cap or in the owner's manual. If your engine only needs regular gas but you use premium, it doesn't boost performance, it just burns slower. The fuel doesn't combust fully, the engine works harder, fuel consumption rises, and you waste money with no benefits. High octane doesn't mean burn stronger. It means resist premature burning better. It's made for high compression or performance engines where combustion chamber pressure is intense. If your everyday car needs 87 octane but you pump 91 or 93, the fuel burns slower than designed. The result: lower performance, sluggish acceleration, and 5 to 110% higher fuel use. Conversely, if your car requires premium gas but you use regular, the mix can ignite too early, causing knocking, which over time damages pistons, spark plugs, and knock sensors. Another common mistake is switching fuel types on a whim. Regular one day, premium the next because it's on sale. This confuses the ECU, which constantly adjusts ignition timing, leading to unstable engine performance, higher fuel consumption, and carbon buildup in the combustion chamber. Especially in turbocharged or direct injection engines, Wrong octane raises combustion chamber temperatures, builds soot faster, and dirties intake valves after just a few thousand miles. High fuel consumption isn't always due to a weak engine or bad gas. Most often, it's from small overlooked details: air filters, sensors, oil, tires, or driving habits. With proper care and maintenance, your car will run smoother, save fuel, and last much longer. Don't let every drop of gas become wasted money due to carelessness. If you found these tips helpful, share them with family and friends to save smarter every day.